Hi everyone, my name is Heather Larkin and I am a macro photographer. And I am here in my home macro studio in Athens, Georgia. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the differences between these two flash diffusers. Both of them are MK flash diffusers, and I have used one exclusively for 3 years and the other one is brand new. And so I wanted to kind of review and see the differences between the older version and the new updated version. Now, this one is my older version. You can see that it has tons of stickers all over it. I am a Sigma ambassador and a Nanlite ambassador, and so I have to rep a little bit, but also jumping spiders because that's what I love. And so instead of a water bottle, these are where I put my stickers. And so I have used this one for like 3 years. And so I wanted to kind of update and see what the newer version had that this one doesn't. So this is the newer version. And let's take a look at why they might be different. So I'm planning to put both of these flash diffusers on my camera and my flash, same camera, same settings, and we're going to compare the images that come out of both of these under the same lighting conditions and the same subject. So you can see that they both fold flat when taken apart, and this is a huge advantage for me because I travel with these a ton. And so this is the older version. You can see that the inside is shiny silver, and this is the newer version. You can see that the inside is white. And does this give us any difference in color and light transmission between the two? Now, I know because I've been using this one for the last 3 months and I used this one for the last 3 years. So I know the difference, but we're going to pretend like I don't and find out together. So let's compare the pieces. So this is the top section to each of them. And you can see that the older version is slightly longer than the new part, but honestly, not that much of a difference for it being so big of a difference when it's put together. So this is shocking to me, but it is not that much difference in the top portion. Now, the bottom sections, this is a huge difference. So this is the bottom section for the older one and the bottom section for the newer one, and they are quite a bit of a size difference. So that can explain where the extra space comes from. But where it really counts is where it's facing your subject. So here is the diffuser section of the older version and the diffuser section of the newer version. So much bigger difference. This is, at least an inch all the way around. But first off, I wanted to show you how easy these are to put together. So basically they come in 3 little pieces. So this is the diffuser, this is the top, and this is the bottom. And all you do is snap it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that that's already creating the shape that we'd like. And this just fits in the front. A little snap goes right there. This one goes down by the lenses. And this one goes in there. All done. The rubber band keeps it attached to your camera lens on the bottom. And there it is. So easy to put together. I love these. So I've got my Sigma 105mm macro lens on my Sony a7R5 with the Godox V1 flash. And we're going to photograph the same subject with the same settings, in the same lighting, and the same flash settings, and everything the same except for 2 different diffusers. So let's find out what the differences are for both of these. Now to put these on, all you do is take the hat of the flash diffuser stick it, Velcro it, and then there's a little rubber band along the front of the lens. I've taken this one off, but it holds the flash diffuser to your lens. And basically it creates this cone of light that brings your light down in front of your subject, in front of your lens, instead of shooting it straight over the top or getting a whole bunch of ugly highlights. I'm normally at f10 with a 1/250th shutter speed because that's the sync speed in this camera. And I usually leave it on TTL, but I can't be sure that it's not going to change the settings this time. So this time we're going to be on manual. So I've taken a few flash test shots and we're at 1/4.5. So let's do some pictures of our subject here. That's pretty nice. I really like that. The highlights are lovely. The shadows are deep. I expect to see a lot of pretty much the same because, again, I have been shooting with the other one for 3 months and I know what it looks like, and I didn't see a ton of difference, but there are a couple of differences that I did like quite a lot. The first of it is that it seems to be better weight distributed. Like this feels a little rough in my hands now because it's just a little bit more front heavy, if that makes any sense. And so that wasn't a topic that I was going to touch on, but now that I've been using that one for 3 months and now I'm coming back to this one, it feels different in my hand. Just a little bit. All right, let's put on the other one and see what the differences are. Now this one has the rubber band that goes around the lens to hold it in place. I like it. Okay, let's turn on everything and see what we've got on this one. Oh yeah, this one definitely just feels more gentle on my tendonitis. Okay, so looking at these two, the differences between the two are very minimal, but they're there. Now for my next subject, I'm going to photograph the Sigma 35mm contemporary lens and the new silver finish because it's nice and shiny and it should give us a very clear picture of what the highlights and specular distribution is for the flash and just in general the gentleness of the light, if that makes any sense. So let's take a picture of this with both diffusers. Since I've already got this one on, then I'm going to use it first and we will use the older one next. Okay. Oop. Same flash power still works. So this one, I am expecting a whole bunch of nice middle gray, and that's what I'm getting. So let's take a look at the other one and see. Okay. Flash on. There we go. And let's take a look. Oh yeah, I see a big difference on this one. Well, big being subjective, but I see a difference. You're probably going to look at it and be like, really, is that much of a difference? But I see a big difference. So the lighting is just smoother in the other one. It really is. Yeah. Which it could be the difference between the interior silver on this one and the interior being white on the other one. And it just creates a gentler, more pretty light. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. So I wanted to go back and look at some of last year's pictures and some of this year's pictures with the newer version and the versus the older version. And I've pulled up some of the same species of jumping spiders. So let's take a look at what is different in each of these. So this is my first one. This is the MK2. And you can see I've got some bright white here on the face and the legs are nice and luminescent. And I've got some shiny bits here that I don't love. And the little teeth fangs are a little bit shiny, which I don't love as well. So on the 4 version, I feel like it's a lot more gentle. This shininess is less, and I like the little fangs a little bit better, and the legs are not as bright white either. This is a magnolia green jumping spider, and they are nearly neon green, and it is so difficult to light. So this is last year's version, and you can see I've got neon under the face, neon legs. It's just a very difficult spider to photograph. So here is this year's version, which I like a lot better. The neon is cut down a little bit. The shininess is still there, but it's not as prevalent. It's a little bit more gentle, which I like. Now, this spider is a species I haven't identified yet. It's a baby. It's a very, very, very baby of one of the common ones we have, but I don't know which one. So you can see it has a little bit of like a shine on its head, which I don't love. I'd like to see the color of its head, not the shine of its head, because that's useful for identification. So that's last year's version. And then this year's version, that shine is cut way, way down, and that makes it a whole lot nicer for me. Definitely A plus for the newer version here. This has the same issue. This is an ant mimic jumping spider, and you can see that the back here, I want to see the identification marks. I want to see the color and not the shininess. Same here. These are very, very specular. I mean, this is pretty darn good, but you can see in the updated version, it's a little bit better. That is cut way down on the shine here, and I like that a whole lot nicer. And then lastly, last year's version of this ribbon, no, it's a slender jumper. And the pedipalps are bright and the head shine is a little bit prevalent, which I don't love. And that has been cut way, way down in this year's version. So the newer updated diffuser is a lot more gentle, especially with very shiny species like that. Now, this is not to say that I don't love the older version, because I do. Some of my very favorite pictures of jumping spiders have been taken with this, and it is amazing. I wouldn't expect to see a huge difference because the older version is already so good. So this is one that I found in Texas, in South Georgia last year. These are both the older version. You can see last year. So this year, you see how it's just a little bit more gentle. Not a ton, but a little bit. And this one is super, super hard to photograph because it is all black and super shiny. And so all of these highlights have been toned down a little bit, and I can see the specular bright white of its little like sparkles and not the reflection instead. And then I would still expect it to be fabulous in the eyes, and it is. All of these hairs are completely picked out. Everything is great through here. It's not glaring white. The pedipalps aren't super bright. All in all, completely fabulous update. Okay, so all of that. And what did you think? I know there's not a huge difference, but what do I think? I think I'm going to need some new stickers. I will be keeping this one for sure.